This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. We're at the press conference for DeGALE versus EUBANK Jr. 23rd of February at the O2. I'm joined by Chris EUBANK Jr. All right, mate?
Very good. Happy New Year.
Great start to this interview. Happy New Year to you too. This is kind of the worst kept secret in boxing. But there's a time and a place for everything. Obviously it couldn't be announced, and today it was announced. And it's the fight that you've wanted or called on since you beat Quinlan.
This is a fight I've wanted since I turned pro. This is a fight that the public have wanted since I turned pro. It was always, when's DeGALE going to fight EUBANK? When's EUBANK going to fight DeGALE? And now we get to put it. Now we get to put the show on for the fans.
What I'm really surprised that didn't happen today was any talk of the sparring stories, because that's something that's kind of been a little backbone to the EUBANK DeGALE thing for quite a few years. No one quite really knows what happened in the sparring. We haven't seen any footage of this. You say one thing, he says another. But that didn't come up today.
Well, he's not going to bring it up because he knows what happened. And I just don't feel the need to bring it up. You know, it's one of those things. It is a he said, she said. And at the end of the day, it's not the fight. The fight is on the February 23rd, and that's where we get to show, we get to show who's the real gravy.
James labelled this fight as the retirement fight, which was something that you were reluctant to sort of go along with, if you like. But he kind of clearly sees this as the loser of this fight shouldn't really continue in boxing. But how did you kind of see that, what he was talking about?
I see that as weakness. I see that as embarrassing for a man to be even having that word in his mind, let alone saying it at a press conference. It's shameful, and it's encouraging. You know, a fighter coming into a fight thinking about retiring if he loses, that's good for me, because I that thought process hasn't even come into my head. So he can label it wherever he wants. At the end of the day, all that matters is I train right, I spar right, and I go in there and teach this kid a lesson.
He seems to think that you believe he's kind of washed up and finished and kind of won't get any better than what we've seen of James DeGALE. Is that how you view DeGALE?
I view him as a man that I can beat savagely. You know, I view him as a man that I'm going to take out in spectacular fashion. His last few performances, they haven't been great. But I think that's due to, the level of the opponents he was facing. I don't think it, he probably just didn't take him seriously. He probably just didn't train accordingly, train right for those fights. He's 100% going to train right for me, because he knows if he doesn't, he's going to get hurt. So I'm expecting him to be the best James DeGALE we've seen come the 23rd, and I'm definitely going to be the best Chris EUBANK Jr.
Chris, people will say that you said similar things years ago in the Saunders fight and then not too long ago in the George Groves fight. So in terms of what you will do to these fighters that didn't materialise in your kind of big profile fight. So people will say, what's different now?
What's different is, I guess, my preparation. I have a trainer. I have the right sparring. I have a trainer for the first time in my career, really, a properly official trainer for a camp. At this level, you can't really get away with just going in there and doing your own thing. And I see that now. You need all hands on deck. You need to have the right guys preparing you, sparring with you. You need to train accordingly to who you're fighting. But it doesn't matter what I say. There's still going to be people that are going to watch this and be like, yeah, he's talking the talk, but it's just going to be the same thing. Tune in on February 23rd and find out.
Talk to me about your link up with Nate Vasquez. How did that come about, and how long has it been going for this relationship? And he said he's living at your house now.
Yeah, he's. We met in Las Vegas over the summer. Trained with him for a few months. Loved his mindset. Loved the way he trained. He's not some, well-known elite level guy that's trained all these world champions. He's trained a few good guys, but it worked for me. So I brought him over. He's staying at my house now, and we're very specific in the training that we're doing, which I've never really had specific training for specific fighters. I just kind of did the same thing for everybody. So I think that this change is going to definitely add a new layer to my performances, and I'm excited to show you guys.
So is Nate your main trainer?
Yes, I've never had a main trainer. Ronnie Davis is an overseer. He's 72 years old. He can't do the pads with me. He can't train me. My father is a busy man. He's never been in the gym with me all the time. He's in and out intermittently, so he's never been my official trainer. I've kind of just trained myself, and that it worked. It worked for a certain amount of time. But once you get to a certain level, you need that extra support. So now we have it.
So are you saying today, in all the fights that you've had, in all the high-profile fights you have been effectively training yourself up until now? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying,
Mental to hear that. I know you've spoken about this before, but it's crazy for someone that's fighting at the level you're fighting at, that you're saying that to this day, in how many fights you've had, that you've trained yourself.
I mean, I've obviously, as a kid, I worked with, well, not as a kid, on and off my entire career, I've worked with Floyd, but that's just when I've been in Vegas for a month or two. I've never had a trainer officially guiding me through fights. I worked a little bit with Adam Booth for a while, but it's just I've never had somebody there with me 24/7. For all my fights, it's just, all right, this guy fights like that, so this is what I'm going to do. I think this is going to be best, so I'm going to do that then. I'm going to do this on that day and that day and that day, and that's just what I think I need to do to win. And most of the time, it worked. Now we're not leaving anything to chance.
Everyone noticed, obviously, your father wasn't here today. Has your dad, not just because he's not here today, but has he taken a backward step from your career, or is he still involved as he always has been?
He's still involved as always. He hasn't been to my last 3 or 4 press conferences. I'm my own man. I can speak for myself. So he's doing his own thing, but he is still heavily involved in my career, and he always will be.
Talking to James DeGALE yesterday, he said that after his defeat to George Grove many years ago, that you sent him a Facebook message. Is this true? He was telling us about it yesterday, a long Facebook message to James DeGALE. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I messaged him. I pretty much said, you lost, but keep your head up, because one day me and you are going to fight. So don't go, losing that energy and that boxing will to win, because it would be a shame for us to not give the public this fight in the future.
Yeah, he said he was talking about it yesterday. I never knew you'd sent him that message, but I suppose many years ago, when everyone was more active on Facebook, I suppose. He was talking about it yesterday. I just wanted your kind of version of it.
Yeah, he was obviously very confident and he said a lot of things leading up to that fight. It rubbed a lot of people up the wrong way. I didn't want him to lose that, because that is what sells a fight. I wanted him to. I was just telling him, keep doing what you're doing, because when me and you fight, I want to see that. I don't want to see a shell of what you are or what you were. I want to fight the best you. So that was it, pretty much in a nutshell.
If we say, for example, you were to have 3 fights this year, so you have James DeGALE on the 23rd. If you could pick your next 2 opponents in an ideal world for you, who would those 2 opponents be for 2019?
I want the belts. I want whoever has the belts, and that's at middleweight or super middleweight. I'm not a real super middleweight, but I'm determined enough that I'm campaigning at this weight, fighting bigger guys, because I know the fighter I am. I know what I'm capable of. But I want the belts. The belts now is the main thing for me.
Super middle, or could it be middleweight as well?
Middleweight, 100% at middleweight. If there's an opportunity for me at middleweight after this fight, I'm taking it. You know, I can't confine myself to one weight. I need to get the fights that are the best fights for me. But at the same time, give the public what they want as well, and that's what this fight's about. This fight's about, you know, yeah, me and James don't get along. We got a beef, and I wanted to fight him for years, but you know, the fans have been asking for this fight for years. You know, I was dreading, finishing my career in however many years from now, and looking back and saying, "Oh man, I can't believe I didn't get to fight DeGALE." That's something I really didn't want to happen. So I was pushing and pushing and pushing for this fight, and now it's here.
I love this fight. This is a great fight.
I think it is too. You know, the styles, the mentality, the animosity, it's all there. And we're both at a stage now where we can't lose. We can't afford to lose. And there's a lot of pride involved in this fight. There's been a lot of trash talk. There's been a lot of words, and neither of us want to step out of that ring saying, "All right, yeah, I lost." He has it in his mind that if he loses, he's going to retire. I don't have anything like that in my mind. If I lose, never comes into my mind before a fight. So, you know, I take encouragement from hearing that type of language from a fighter, talking about retirement, talking about if he loses. That's a dangerous path to walk down, to set your mind down.
The last time we spoke was obviously after your win in Saudi Arabia against JJ McDonough. On the same night, obviously, George Groves was beaten by Callum Smith. We haven't heard anything from George Groves. First of all, what did you make of his defeat? And secondly, do you believe that George Groves will fight on again?
I don't know. You'd have to ask him. But in terms of the performance, you know, the guy had... I was told 2 months before the fight, he couldn't even do that with his arm. So, you know, he's never going to be 100%. You know, he just didn't want to lose out on that very lucrative deal. So he took the fight. I think our fight, the fight between me and George, took a lot out of him, and that showed on the night against Callum Smith.
Is that a fight that's in the back of your mind as well, Callum Smith?
Listen, he's got the belts. I said I want the belts. So Callum Smith is definitely somebody I'm looking at to fight in the not too distant future.
And you obviously would have been thrilled to see your old mate Billy Joe Saunders back in action last month as well. So he's back on the trail this year.
I didn't even know he fought. I didn't even know. But yeah, that is obviously it's obviously a fight that I'm definitely keen to have if and when we can make it. Now that he's lost his belt, it's probably going to be easier to make. So you know, if we can get that on some point next year, then I'm all for it.
I think his exact words were he would be interested in a fight of you, in his own words, as a warm-up for a bigger fight. That's what, yeah, from Billy Joe.
That's good. That's the type of talk I want to hear. You know, giving the little digs here and there. That's what encourages people to tune in. He knows I'm not a warm-up. He knows I'm the most dangerous fighter he's ever faced, and he knows that if and when that fight does happen, he's going to be in a world of trouble, because I'm not starting from the 6th round like I did last time. I'm starting from round 1. Just
finally, Chris, obviously last time I actually saw you was in LA, at a hotel a couple of days before the Tyson Fury fight, but just a quick word on that. Incredible performance from Tyson Fury. Would you agree?
Yeah. To get back up off of that canvas after such a heavy knockdown was very impressive. And I'm sure there'll be a rematch, which is definitely something that we'd all like to see. It was a very entertaining fight. Was it a draw? I don't know. Who knows? At the end of the day, boxing is a business, so a draw just means another big money fight afterwards. So I wasn't surprised on a verdict. I was ringside. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that.
Have you got anything else you'd like to add, Chris?
February 23rd, it's a make or break fight, and I'm treating it that way. I know I can't afford to lose. I know the repercussions of a bad performance. I know how important it is for me to beat James DeGALE, but not only beat him, but beat him in a spectacular fashion. And that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Chris EUBANK Jr., thank you very much for talking to IFL TV. 7 weeks this Saturday. It's on at the O2. Get your tickets or buy the pay-per-view.
There it is.